It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Inside the Force. This is episode 29, and I am David Cottingham with Casey Cooley.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Howdy. Howdy.
Welcome. We are in the middle of October right now, and we are doing a quasi-mashup with Popular Fanatics. We are in the middle of talking on this show about Clone Wars and the Clone Wars characters in honor of the Season 5 release on DVD and Blu-ray and the entire box set of the series coming this October. And on Popular Fanatics, the show that you can get every week on Wednesdays at popularfanatics.com, part of the 21 Network. Me and Casey, we are guests on that show.
Hey, we are, that's right.
And we're talking about the movies.
Yes.
Episode 4 was last week.
Yep.
This week you'll be getting The Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
Next week, Return of the Jedi. And then last week, we're going to sum up all the prequels. So, lots of Star Wars talk. Obviously, that's all we do on this show. But if you want some more, go to popularfanatics.com. Check that every Wednesday. All right, so this week we are going to dive into Death Watch. For the people that watched the Clone Wars, they played heavily through a couple seasons because we spend a lot of time on Mandalore, which is obviously the Mandalorians. The Mandalorians, there's a faction, as we'll find out here, that is involved into an organization called Death Watch. So we'll get into last week we talked about, if you wanted to catch up, last week we talked about who did we talk about last week?
Asajj
Ventress, that's right. So very good insight onto her and her background and whatnot. So we are continuing the Clone Wars talk with Death Watch. Case, what do we know about Death Watch?
Well, actually, I first heard about Mandalorians, well, besides Boba Fett. That's the Knights of the Old Republic games.
Right.
Mandalorians kind of play a big part of those games, and there's a character, at least in the second one, called Mandalore. He's called Mandalore. And Mandalore is basically, you can call it the leader of the Mandalorians. Not like a political, more like a military, I think, kind of leader. But Mandalorians are mercenaries, pretty much. And Mandalore is the leader of the Mandalorians. And Death Watch plays into that because around, Death Watch was founded in 60 BBY by a guy named Tor Vizsla.
Yeah. And
so this is, many years before the Clone Wars actually started, but this ties into the Clone Wars. So around that time, 60 BBY, there was this man named Jaster Meriel who became the new Mandalore for the Mandalorians. And he kind of changed the way the Mandalorians conducted business. Basically, before this guy, the Mandalorians were ruthless, barbaric soldiers just going around causing chaos, I guess, whatever. Like, they were just ruthless killers, well, all that kind of stuff. I guess they were
like
just
gangsters in a way.
Yeah, gangsters. They mercenaries, but they would just do it, whatever. They didn't care, but they were ruthless. But something big event happened, and this new Mandalore, Jaster Meriel, decided to change things. So he created what was called the Super Commando Codex, which sounds awesome, Super Commando Codex. Basically, it's summarized in just saying that, we are changing the way Mandalorians work. We're not, we are mercenaries, but we're highly paid soldiers. We're going to be honorable in how we conduct business. We're not going to be ruthless. We're going to be, respectable people, but still mercenaries, still whatever. So it sounds like a paradox, but it worked. Well, actually, some people didn't like it. And Tor Vizsla, this guy who clung to the old way of doing things, Mandalorians, like he was still this ruthless guy. He did not like the Super Commando Codex. So he just had a falling out with the Mandalore, Jaster, and he created Death Watch. Tor Vizsla did. He created Death Watch. And basically, he just went around finding guys who also agreed with the old way of doing things, not the new Super Commando Codex, the Codex. And he gathered these guys, created Death Watch, and basically they were just a faction that went around doing what Mandalorians used to do, basically. And that caused problems with the Jaster's guys, which they're called Jaster, Mereal, the Mandalore. The new style Mandalorians. They're called the true Mandalorians. That's what they're calling themselves.
Yeah.
Which is strange because they're changing the way Mandalorians are, yet they're calling themselves the true Mandalorians. So we have the true Mandalorians led by Jaster Mereal, and you have Death Watch led by Tor Vizsla. And so it's just the classic civil war going on with Mandalorians. Now, all this, is taking place basically on and around the planet also called Mandalore, which is in the Mandalore system on the Outer Rim. And you know that a lot by the Clone Wars TV show. So now we have two factions. We have the True Mandalorians and the Death Watch. And there's a civil war going on that takes place for quite a while. And basically it goes on, it started in 60 BBY. It was going on for basically about 60 years, pretty much, up until Attack of the Clones era. But a lot of battles during that time. And couple big parts where basically Tor Vizsla is always trying to kill Jaster Mereal, and Jaster Mereal is always trying to kill Tor Vizsla. They're trying to get rid of each other. It doesn't really happen for a long time, but there is one really interesting moment. They are on. I'm trying to figure out where they are. They're on the world called Concord Dawn. It's a strange name for a planet. I don't really know anything about it. Haven't looked up or anything. But Concord Dawn, there is this battle between Death Watch and the True Mandalorians. And it ended up with the True Mandalorians being retreated, whatever. They ran away, so Death Watch, I guess, won that battle. But Death Watch came into contact. They basically went through this... the True Mandalorians retreated through this farm. And Death Watch followed them. And basically this farm... I believe the farm was owned by the Fett family.
Yeah, Jango's father.
Jango's father. And so we're going to talk a little bit about basically the past of the history of Jango Fett, just briefly. So these two factions are coming into contact with the Fett family, and they basically had nothing to do with it, whatever. But I think they got caught up, and the True Mandalorians are out. They're out of the picture now. But so the Death Watch have caught Jango's father because he was harboring some True Mandalorian troops, just because he was, I guess, holding some of the injured or whatever. And so Tor Vizsla, basically, just because he's a ruthless guy, beat Jango's father, and he doesn't have a name here, but I'll call him Mr. Fett, I don't know. Jango's father, and beat him and had one of his guys killed Jango's father, basically right in front of Jango. He's sitting there watching it. And I believe also Jango's mother intervened, killed one of the Death Watch soldiers, and then I think she also died. And so Jango had a sister, and it says here
sister was captured.
It was captured. So basically, Jango, this one night, both of his parents get killed, sister gets captured, and Death Watch leaves.
And they take him with them.
Yeah, and they burn down everything. Burn down the farm. And
by the way, Concord Dawn is a frontier world in the Mandalore sector of the Outer Rim territory. So it's a Mandalore sector, but okay, that's what Concord Dawn is.
Cool. So this is kind of one little moment in the battle between Death Watch and True Mandalorians, but it's very important because of Jango Fett.
Correct.
And so this is resolved, whatever. Nothing, Jango doesn't get revenge here yet. I mean, he does.
Kid.
Yeah, he avenges the death, because Tor Vizsla didn't kill Jango's parents, another soldier did. Jango, we may do this more if we ever profile Jango Fett, but Jango eventually avenges his father's death by killing the Death Watch soldier who killed his father. So did that, but Tor Vizsla escaped. He didn't, they didn't fight. He didn't fight with Jango. But years later, on another planet called Corta 6, Death Watch lured the true Mandalorians into a trap. And there was yet another fight. But at this point, Jango Fett is now a Mandalorian warrior, and he is fighting against Death Watch right now, alongside the true Mandalorians, because now he's in charge of the true Mandalorians. He's in second in command. He's and underneath Jasper Muriel and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So now Jango is fighting with them against the Death Watch, all this stuff like that, and but basically this is an important battle because Tor Vizsla, is battling Jasper Muriel, and this is where he actually is able to finally kill Jasper Muriel. He just guns him down with tank laser cannons, basically. Just crazy way to go out. But so this is a huge victory for Death Watch. They fight and he destroys the leader of the true Mandalorians. But he doesn't destroy the true Mandalorians. They just, they're victorious, but the true Mandalorians are able to flee the planet, basically, because their leader's dead. So, the Civil War is still not finished. Now, years later, around 44 BBY, and I'll briefly go over this because we've actually talked about this already. 44 BBY, Death Watch and true Mandalorians kind of have another run-in on a planet called Galadran. And we have talked about this, the uprising of River Galadran with Count Dooku.
Yes, we did talk about this.
So, just to briefly talk about it again, just very briefly, Galadran, the governor of Galadran, hired Death Watch to kind of be their. The governor was funding Death Watch so they can build up resources, whatever, while he was also using them to, I guess, get rid. They both didn't like the true Mandalorians. They're both trying to get rid of a common enemy, pretty much. So they were helping each other get rid of the true Mandalorians. And basically, the governor of Galadran got into contact with. Let's backtrack a little bit. The governor of Galadran, he has the Death Watch in his pocket, whatever, but that's a secret. He reaches out to the true Mandalorians, saying, "We need your help to get rid of some dissidents on my planet to, destroy them, get rid of them because they're causing a lot of problems." There really isn't anything like that. He's just telling that to the true Mandalorians to get them basically to their planet. So while he does that, he goes to the Jedi Council saying, "Hey, we have these Mandalorians who are causing problems, they're killing innocents, all this and this and this, so you have to come down here and destroy them or take care of them." So he's basically lying to both these groups, trying to get the Jedi to come and fight the true Mandalorians, and so there's a battle there. And it all works out. Actually, it happens. The Jedi come, they fight the true Mandalorians. It's all a huge mistake. Count Dooku's involved. So if you want to know more about that specific battle, listen to our previous podcast talking about Darth Tyrannus.
Yes.
But basically, the end result is there's a huge battle. A lot of true Mandalorians died. A lot of Jedi died. All that kind of stuff. And Jango Fett was heavily involved as well because he's now the leader of the true Mandalorians. So, again, jumping ahead, just 2 years later, Jango Fett comes back to Galadran because he knows the whole setup. He knows Death Watch was involved. He wants to get even more revenge now. So Jango Fett comes back to Galadran, finds the governor, forces him at Blaster Point to reveal to him the location of Death Watch, and so the governor does. And Jango Fett finds Death Watch aboard Tor Vizsla's personal starship called the Death Rattle, and which is over Corellia at the moment he finds him. So Jango Fett goes to Corellia, finds Tor Vizsla's ship, uses a starfighter to cripple the ship's engines, and uses his jetpack to fly through the viewport into the ship to battle. It doesn't say how many Death Watch are on the ship, but it's basically Jango Fett against whoever's on the ship.
Yeah.
So Jango Fett's now on the ship, fighting Tor Vizsla, and it's a very lengthy battle. It might just be Tor Vizsla on the ship. Actually, it might just be him there. So they're battling on the ship, Tor Vizsla and Jango Fett, and it's very epic. They go through the entire ship, fighting and fighting. They end up getting into an escape pod the escape pod launches onto the surface of Corellia. So now they're fighting on Corellia. So they're fighting across many, many miles, I guess. And the climax of their fight, both of these guys are injured. Jango Fett apparently somehow got poisoned by Tor Vizsla. And Tor Vizsla is also injured. He's bleeding. And sounds really crazy when I read it like this. But a pack of dire cats come out of nowhere, drawn by the blood because Tor Vizsla, they're both bleeding. And the dire cats attack and kill Tor Vizsla, while they don't attack Jango Fett because he's poisoned. So I guess maybe they can smell it.
Probably.
And so they go after Tor Vizsla and kill Tor Vizsla. And so he's finally dead. And the remaining Death Watch groups, the Death Watch members, are just scattered throughout the galaxy because now they're leaderless, while Jango Fett's now the true Mandalorian leader. So, the Death Watch kind of, seemingly they were dissolved. And this is around 42 BBY. So we haven't hit episode 1 yet. Anyway, so we're still before episode 1. Jango Fett's still kind of young, and yet he's already well established as leader of the true Mandalorians. So that's basically where the last time we hear of Death Watch up until the Clone War era, Clone Wars. Now I'll briefly get into a little bit of the Clone Wars. So Tor Vizsla is dead. The Death Watch are leaderless supposedly. And basically we go forward, it's 42 BBY. We go forward basically about 20 years almost. During the formation of the Grand Army of the Republic on Kamino. We all know from the movie Attack of the Clones that Jango Fett was the clone template of the whole army. There is a clone army, and Jango Fett is trying to. He gets the true Mandalorians are still hanging around. So Jango Fett gets 75 of he gets a group of 100 individuals. Basically 75 of which were Mandalorian. He gets these guys to train a group of clone commandos to be like a super elite group, basically. So I guess Jango wants his own specific elite group, and they would be known as, this is a weird Mandalorian word, the Kuivil Dar, which translates to those who no longer exist. I don't know what that means. Some Mandalorian thing, whatever. So Jango Fett is using his true Mandalorians. I guess he's trying to expand his own army of true Mandalorians. But 2 of the Mandalorian trainers are like basically double agents for Death Watch. So Death Watch is still around. They managed to sneak into this group to train these clone commandos and try to basically revitalize Death Watch. Well, Jango finds out, beats the living daylights out of these 2 guys, gets rid of them, just disbands it and squashes it. And so, again, you think Death Watch is too weak to even exist. But then, at the end of what we know of Attack of the Clones, Jango dies by Mace Windu. So now, once again, the true Mandalorians are leaderless. And you feel like, okay, finally both of these groups, true Mandalorians, Death Watch, they're done. They're finished. But as we know from the Clone Wars TV show, Mandalore, there's a lot of stuff going on with Mandalore. The idea of the true Mandalorians, the whole peaceful, the respectable kind of way of doing things survives through Duchess Satine and all that. But Death Watch, which unknowingly, they are slowly getting power on one of the moons of Mandalore. Called Concordia, I believe is what it's called. And now they have a new leader because the governor of that moon of Concordia is Pre Vizsla, who is Tor Vizsla's son, I believe. And so Pre Vizsla is now basically, in a way he inherited, I guess, Death Watch. And so he is building up Death Watch. He is making it, once again, a ruthless band of mercenaries going around, and they're trying to reestablish control of Mandalore to reestablish the old way of doing things. Basically what Tor Vizsla has always been trying to do. Just gain control of the planet, have this big conquest, reestablishing power. So that is where we pick up with Mandalore and with Death Watch during the Clone Wars. And they have a huge storyline. Pre Vizsla has a huge plot line throughout a couple seasons there. So should we talk about, I mean, if you need to watch the Clone Wars, if you want to
watch the Clone Wars, yeah.
But it's pretty cool. I mean, the show, in the Clone Wars animated show, Pre Vizsla is voiced by Jon Favreau, which was a cool little surprise.
Absolutely cool.
So, so then like Darth Maul gets involved with it somehow, and I guess in a way Darth Maul ended up becoming leader of the Death Watch.
Yes, because because of that. Yeah, we won't give too much away on that.
It's pretty cool though. If you watch it, Pre Vizsla has this like sword. It's I don't know what it's called, but it's like black matter or something like that, and it blocks lightsabers, and it's actually really cool. And he's a pretty bad guy, and he can actually hold his own for a little while. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much all the stuff. I mean, basically everything I've said here it's all. I mean, although Death Watch is canon, a lot of stuff what I've said could be considered EU probably, but I mean, there's not a lot there with it. So most of the history of Death Watch comes from the shows, or from some comic books and all that stuff, and some little junior novels. But that is basically Death Watch, unless you have something else to add.
Not really, but I was trying to look up if he was truly his son.
Yeah, no, I was guessing, but I wasn't
find.
sure. I know that. I mean, it's the same family.
I mean, it's the same.
Yeah.
It's got to be. But is he too young to be his son, or maybe his grandson?
I mean, it could be true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or nephew or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. It doesn't
know.
Make the connection.
So I could have been talking up my butt with that, saying that he's his son. So.
Yeah, because he said, here's a quote here. It says, "I am Pre Vizsla of Clan Vizsla."
Yeah.
So it could be just a relation somehow, not his father, but maybe some kind of relation to.
Probably.
To Vizsla.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Death Watch was, I think, a pretty cool addition to the Clone Wars story, especially because Duchess Satine has a very interesting storyline, being somewhat connected to Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Which brings Obi-Wan to Mandalore a lot, and Mandalore was, as far as I remember from the Clone Wars, Mandalore was a sector or a system that wanted to be independent, not part of the separatists, but
right.
a neutral almost.
Yes,
and Death Watch really wanted to take back Mandalore, so they had their own battles going on as well as what was happening with the Clone Wars. So, some real good stuff. And then, of course, when Darth Maul got involved. He basically teamed up with Black Sun and Mandalore and Death Watch. So
really cool interactions between Pre Vizsla and Darth Maul. It seems like everybody was always having their own the bad guys always, when they get in league, they're always just like, I'll help you, but I've got my own thing.
Exactly,
so
totally.
Pre Vizsla, he's not an idiot.
No,
pretty.
And
cool.
He knew you couldn't trust.
Yes,
Sith, and it was pretty neat.
I'm looking here. Death Watch, because the Mandalorian symbol, like Boba Fett always had that symbol on his cape and on his armor, but the true the Death Watch have their own other kind of symbol, which is pretty interesting looking. I mean, it looks kind of simple, but it's actually on Pre Vizsla's helmet. But it's cool. That's why I want to see Mandalorians in a movie, because there's a whole culture there. Mandalorians, like just. The battle armor and it's super cool, and they have their own language and all that. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think what we just talked about, the Mandalorian Civil War, would be incredible.
And there was a lot of Mandalorian wars in the old Republic days, like the KOTOR era. There's huge Mandalorian wars. Pretty cool.
All right, so that's Death Watch. Like I said, like we've been saying, check out Clone Wars. The 5th season will be out this month. All the previous seasons are already out. You can get watching this stuff. And of course, next week we'll hit on some other characters. That's the thing. We were going to just do pre-Vizsla.
Yeah.
But there wasn't really much of a history with him.
No.
There was much more history with the actual formation of Death Watch. So that's
Right.
what we did.
Right.
And news-wise, let's see.
News-wise,
what else we got?
I mean, not much. I mean, I'm probably going to lay off a lot of these rumors. They're just getting out of control. So I'm not going to hit on a lot of the rumors now until we get something confirmed. This one's kind of confirming a rumor, though, in a way, where last week I mentioned one actress who auditioned, and I can never remember how to pronounce her name, Saoirse Ronan, the chick from Hannah and some of these other movies. She was actually asked about if she did audition, and her quote was basically, it's like, I auditioned, but she also was like, so is everyone. Like, it pretty much saying, like, of course, like, who hasn't auditioned for Star Wars? So, confirmed, she's auditioned, but that doesn't mean that she's actually in the movie. But another audition, another actor who has auditioned, a casting rumor, but I think this guy has actually confirmed it, or his reps have confirmed it. They did it. It's Sullivan Stapleton, who was in the 300 sequel, which I never saw, which it hasn't come out yet. Actually,
it hasn't come out yet.
But this, I don't know if I'm going to like it, though, honestly. But But this guy, the guy who's the star of the sequel to 300, apparently actually did audition for Star Wars. But again, just like sure he has, I'm sure everybody else has, no biggie. So there's that. So that's probably the last of the kind of unless it's like a super crazy rumor of like plots or characters in the movie, we might not hit on it a lot. We'll retweet it, we'll talk about it, but we won't really probably talk about it much on the show. I don't know. But now here's another. So like this, here's kind of it's not a rumor though. This next piece of news, but it's pretty cool. Disney XD is going to air a brief teaser video for Star Wars Rebels next Monday. Or actually, this was yesterday, right?
Yesterday, if you listen to this on Tuesday, but we're recording this before Monday. So
so there you go. So this past Monday, there was a Disney XD aired the teaser video of Star Wars Rebels. It's gonna be super awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
I gotta see it.
It's gonna be awesome. So I'm sure it'll be literally very, very brief. But
I saw what looks like, I think it was a screenshot.
Yeah, we've seen screenshots of
TIE fighters flying. That's a different looking animation.
Absolutely. They're making it look like Ralph McQuarrie stuff, and it really does. It's really, the stuff is going to be it's going to look, they're trying to make it look more like the original trilogy, color palette, all that stuff. And I think they've nailed it. And it's going to be a fantastic show. So, look it up. Watch it. It's awesome. And that's all the news.
That is all the news. Another release, though, that came out last week. We said we were going to talk about it. And that is the comic book, The Star Wars. Not Star Wars, which is also out from Dark Horse. This is The Star Wars #2, based on George Lucas's original rough draft screenplay. So we kind of talked about #1. Came out last month, and how different it is. This takes it a whole nother level. Because there are a lot of references. Yeah, there are. Yeah. And I mentioned in the comics last week with Russell that, there's just a lot of, I think maybe we talked about it too, but there's a lot of like art decisions in here that's like, was that art from 75? Or are they taking it? Because there's a lot of stuff like ships from episode 3, from episode 1.
The AAT or whatever, whatever they call it. The one with the prequel.
Hovering one, and then the starfighters are the ones that the clones are in episode 3. So it's like, I'm wondering if that's the way it was designed. I think they're taking some liberties. I think so too. But in this book, you had mentions of, you haven't seen Han Solo yet. No. There was a pilot named Chewie, which was weird, and Mace. Yep.
And I didn't know, but the planet they were on the first issue is Utapau.
Yep. That's right. Cool. But they do go and try to get Princess Leia. We're introduced to her on this in this book. But let me just read you this. Maybe get you. It's basically the crawl. The beginning of this book.
That was cool.
So this kind of gives the idea of what this story is about and how it differs from Star Wars. But, and so here it is. So after his youngest son is killed in an attack by a Sith Knight on the fourth moon of Utapau, Jedi Kane Starkiller and his surviving son Anakin decide to return to their home world of Aquile. Is that right? Aquile?
Yeah.
On Aquile, the king and his council debate signing a treaty with the new galactic empire, unaware that General Darth Vader is already preparing to attack. Believing there's still time to find peace, the royal family sends Princess Leia away to school. Arriving on Aquile, Kane Starkiller is reunited with fellow Jedi General Luke Skywalker. Kane begs Luke to take Anakin as his apprentice and reveals that he is dying, but the discussion is interrupted by word of something huge moving toward space towards Aquile. And this is written by J.W. Rinsler and art by Mike Mayhew. Very good art. I really love the art in it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
For one.
The covers are really cool.
The covers are awesome. Yeah, it looks like Star Wars posters.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of we're introduced to two droids in this, even though they didn't name them yet, but they look like the original. Now they look like the original poster.
Yeah,
from '77.
The sketches. Yeah.
Yes,
even on the
even the original in '77, they didn't really look like they do in the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's weird seeing R2 speak English. Even though,
yeah.
I mean, I know you were going to translate it, but usually it says translated from whatever droid speak or whatever. So, but a really, really good book. It's only a limited series, so you don't have to stick with it.
Yeah, I was thinking too, because this one is almost towards the end of episode 4.
It is.
So it's so how many issues is it?
It's only 8.
8?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, because it's they didn't quite finish episode 4 in this one.
Yeah, and it's weird because it's not really a significant battle.
Didn't seem like it.
You know what I mean? Yeah, because
I was like, this is too soon for this.
Well, there wasn't like Skywalker wasn't in a ship attacking, so there wasn't really relevance to the attack, but it seems very much like episode 4, correct?
Yeah. Pretty cool.
And I think that the droids were on the Death Star.
Seemed like it.
And they ejected off of there.
Oh yeah.
Versus being on a ship.
That's true.
So it was a different tie-in with them. So I don't know how much.
There was a crazy moment between Anakin and Leia.
Yeah.
That was weird.
He
knocks her out.
Her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To take her away the planet safely or whatever, to bring her back.
That was really weird.
I was like, why did you punch her?
I know. A lot of violence.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. Like I said, I think it's 8 issues once a month, so it'll be the next 6 months there'll be issues going on. So I mean, honestly, I suggest if you don't read it monthly to maybe pick up the trade.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
it'll be a good book to have, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course next week we'll have Star Wars number 10 come out. So obviously it'll be next week's show. We'll talk about that. But that is a great book that's tied into the movies, taking place between A New Hope and Empire.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll look forward to reviewing that for you.
Yeah.
So, trivia time. Trivia time, and we are still missing a lot of questions.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's see. We are at I'm at 15 and 13. Casey's at 16 and 12. All right, let's see what question we're doing, and we're doing 697. Which is going to be early on, probably Attack of the Clones, it looks like, maybe. Attack of the Clones era.
That's relevant.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's say 697. Yeah, here we go. 697. Okay, what was Count Dooku's lightsaber designed specifically to enhance?
Okay.
Now, we did Dooku, but we didn't really talk about his lightsaber.
No.
What was Count Dooku's lightsaber designed specifically to enhance? A, Form 4 lightsaber combat.
This kind of question. Okay.
B, Form 3 lightsaber combat. C, Form 2, or D, Form 1. So basically, which one through 4 lightsaber combat?
I'm going to say Form 4.
You're going to say Form 4?
Yeah.
What was Count Dooku's lightsaber specifically designed to enhance? I mean,
It's a curve.
it was a curved handle.
Yeah.
And he didn't have like 2 of them.
Yeah.
He gave Ventress 2 of them that were curved that could be joined into a saber staff. Mm-hmm. Which would be weird because it wouldn't be a straight saber staff.
Unless you curved it opposite, maybe. It's like that. I don't know. Won't be straight. No.
No, it wouldn't be straight.
That's weird.
So this is, I mean, I have no idea. Form 1 through 4. I mean,
I'm making somewhat of an educated guess. I think I've heard of Form 4. I think that's
I think they're all
the real. Yeah, but I feel like I've heard of Form 4 the
different
most.
levels.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go on a guess too and just say I'll say Form 2.
2. Okay.
It's just complete pure guess.
Okay.
And Form 4 is A, so let's go with A.
Oh.
Incorrect, and it is C.
Oh.
Form 2.
Oh no!
Yes.
We're tied.
My guessing has worked finally. I took an educated guess. No. No idea.
I knew it.
I don't even know what Form 2 means. I'll have to look that up and tell you guys next week because I really guessed on that one. I had no idea about that.
We need to probably do something with the forms of lightsabers.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it'd be kind of boring to talk about it, but maybe we can do a demonstration or something like that.
Yeah.
Video demonstration.
Man. I told we got to film a lightsaber battle one of these days. So that would be cool.
At least do some more vadering picks. We haven't done those in a while.
Yes. Right.
We can do one now since the crossover.
Vadering.
With all 4 of us.
Oh, with all 4 of us? Yeah. I might add some force lighting in there too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that's our show this week, episode 29. Thanks for checking us out. Go to InsideTheForce.com to listen to all our shows, all 29 episodes. Follow us at Inside the Force on Twitter. Casey over there is Kryptonian1138. I am D Cottingham21 on Twitter. Like I said, we are mashing up with Popular Fanatics tomorrow. If you're listening to this when it comes out on Popular Fanatics, we're going to be talking about The Empire Strikes Back. Everything we love, everything we hate, everything not really we hate, but everything we kind of talk about what we would change still.
Yeah.
You know, because we're kind of fans of the special editions.
Yeah.
So, and then, of course, next week, we're going to hit on some more Clone Wars, and on Fanatics, we're going to talk about Return of the Jedi. So check us out then. For Casey Cooley,
we are the Death Watch, descendants of the true warrior of faith all Mandalorians once knew. That's a quote from Pre Vizsla on the Clone Wars TV show. So, there you go.
Very good, very good. And I think next week, I was going to bring it up, but I forgot. I think next week is the release of the Blu-rays.
Is it?
I think it's on the 17th, October 17th. Is that right?
Probably. It's usually around the time the show would have aired.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but we'll send out a tweet or something about it, you know. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. I am David Cottingham. May the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network, a collection of weekly podcasts. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.